Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Coaching. My name is Liv and I am a triathlon coach for our Melbourne squad. To anyone tuning in right now who's living in Melbourne, woohoo, how good is today? So exciting, we finally have a bit of freedom. I woke up this morning in like the best mood I've been in 7 months, so hope you're all feeling very happy as well. I definitely think that probably the most exciting part of all is that because restrictions have eased a little bit, we are able to start running some of our squad training sessions again, which is very exciting. I can't wait to actually see people in the flesh. We've been doing all of our sessions over Zoom, which has been great, but definitely missed seeing everyone's actual faces. So if you are interested in training with the squad, joining our Melbourne squad and training at a social level, meeting some of the girls and getting to know your fellow TriChicks, then we would absolutely love to have you. We're going to be recommencing in-person training sessions from next week. If you're interested in training with the squad, then join our TriChicks Melbourne Facebook group, which is in the caption of this video. And if you have never trained with TriChicks before and you're interested in getting involved, then we have also got a $14 for 14-day trial if you're interested as well. So the link for that is also in the caption of this video. The group is very beginner focused, so please, if you maybe haven't been up to much over this crazy lockdown period, then don't stress. It's just a fun environment. All the girls are super welcoming. Everyone's really at that quite beginner level. The main goal over these next few weeks leading into Christmas, which is crazy, it's only like 7.5 weeks away or something, is just to have fun, to get back into a routine and just to enjoy training with other people, which will be a very, very nice change. So yeah, follow the links up above if you're interested. If you have any questions that aren't answered, then feel free to message TriChicks on Facebook and we can get back to you. But yeah, very excited about that. Cannot wait until our first session next week. But we'll move on now to the rest of today's episode of Coffee and Coaching. And basically, we're going to be chatting about making the move from sneakers to cleats. A few of the girls in the Melbourne squad have just started making the move, and Tian, if you're listening to this, I know you're thinking about doing it, which is very exciting. Soon, I think the only thing holding her back is she's waiting until she can find pink shoes, which I definitely approve of. But the first question you may have is, what are cleats? And when I first started triathlon, I had no idea that these things even existed. But basically, these are shoes that you wear on the bike that attach your shoes to your pedals. Most beginners start out just wearing sneakers on the bike, and if that's you, you're definitely not alone. I think I did my first 3 triathlons wearing runners on the bike, and people can be quite scared about making the move to cleats, and yeah, that whole idea of being attached to the pedals can really freak people out a little bit. But hopefully, after I've finished going through everything today, I've eased some of those concerns, and yeah, you don't feel as though there is too much to worry about. But if you have been in the sport for a little bit and you've gotten your confidence up on the bike and you haven't tried cleats yet, now might really be a good time to start thinking about making that transition and giving them a go. So you might be asking, why should I use cleats? What's so good about these clip-in pedals? And basically, they give you the ability to push and pull in your pedal stroke. And that makes you a more efficient cyclist. So when you have runners on, you can push down on the pedal, but because you're not attached to the pedal, you then can't use any force to pull it back up. You're relying on the push down of the other pedal to do that. Okay, but when you are attached, when your foot is clipped in to the pedal, you have the power to push and also to pull, which makes you a much more efficient cyclist. It also means that there's a lot less movement between your foot and the pedal if you're clipped into it and nice and secure in there, which means that there's a lot less power wastage, which ultimately will increase your speed. And at the end of the day, that's what we're all training so hard for, is to become fitter, faster, more powerful athletes. So That's a big plus. You'll find that cleats are particularly useful when you're riding up hills. So if you're using cleats for the first time, you'll probably notice the biggest change when you are going up an incline. Because of those advantages I mentioned before, giving you more power and all of that, you are able to ride up steeper inclines easier. You'll find it easier to descend as well, and you'll probably just find that you're a lot more comfortable on the bike once you get used to them, of course. I've used cleats for, quite a few years now, and anytime I now sit on my bike without them, I wonder how the hell I used to do it. It is so much harder riding in just runners, I promise. So it's definitely worth the move. The next thing that I think can kind of hold people back a little bit from making the transition from runners or sneakers to cleats, and something that definitely impacted me, was wondering what I actually needed to buy. I was put off using them for ages because I was really confused about what I actually needed to purchase, and all the cycling stuff used to just really intimidate me, and I didn't understand what I needed to do what and all of that. So hopefully, if you're in that position, I can ease any of that confusion today. As I mentioned earlier, cleats are there, so they're shoes designed specifically for the bike. So you can purchase cycling shoes from from online or from cycling specific stores that you can go into. And basically, the bottom of the shoe has holes in it that are specifically designed for screwing the cleat into, and this is something that you purchase separately. And there are a lot of cycling shoes out there. However, if you are wanting to train for a triathlon and use these shoes in a triathlon, then I recommend purchasing triathlon shoes as opposed to cycling shoes. And I'll show you one of each for reference. I've got one of both. Basically, this is an example of a triathlon shoe. Excuse the little bit of dirt on the top there. But basically, as you can see, it's just got one Velcro strap that you have to worry about. So all I have to do is undo and redo the strap to pull my shoe on or off in transition. They also have this very handy toggle at the back here, which again just helps for pulling the shoe on or off. Once you become a transition master, you might move to actually taking your shoes off whilst you're on the bike at the end of the bike leg, and having that toggle and just the one strap to worry about makes it a hell of a lot easier when you're still rolling on the bike and you're trying to get your foot out of your shoe. Then you have cycling shoes, and these are made without triathlon in mind. So in triathlons, you've got transitions, you're trying to move from the swim to the bike or the bike to the run really quickly, and the time you spend in transition counts towards your overall time, and it makes a big difference to how you, your position and your overall results. Cycling races, you don't have to worry about any of that, okay? So cycling shoes aren't made with that, intent to be able to take them on and off really quickly. So this is an example of a cycling shoe. And as you can see, it's got this sort of twist tie system. It's got a couple of Velcro straps here and here. And there's a lot more going on. It's a lot more fiddly, and there's a lot more to worry about. So cycling shoes you'll see all over online, and they're often the ones that are all the funky colors and patterns. As you can see, I clearly got roped in because they were bright pink, and I love that. However, if you are looking just to buy a clip-in shoe that you're going to wear in races and it's going to help you get nice and fast transition times, highly recommend actually getting a triathlon shoe. It will serve your purpose a lot better, particularly for those shorter distance races, sprint and Olympic distance, where it comes down to, a matter of seconds. Sometimes your positioning or time splits here and there. So hopefully that clears up anything like that, and you know what to look for if you are purchasing something online. You don't get confused between a cycling shoe and a triathlon shoe. Okay, moving on now to a cleat, and this is a small piece of plastic material. It's usually triangular in shape, and this is what you screw onto the bottom of the shoe. So if you can see here, again, it's a little bit worn and rough here, but you can see we've got 3 screws here, and that's what attaches the cleat to the shoe. And you buy the cleat separately to the shoe, okay? You can get these cheap online, or any bike store will have them as well. This is the cleat is the part that connects your shoe to the pedal and actually clips in and keeps your foot in there. You can just get them from a bike store, as I mentioned. Something important to note is how you actually attach your cleat to the shoe, and the position that it's in is going to affect your comfort on the bike. So if you end up with the cleat on a big angle, you know, your toe is going to be pointing in towards the bike frame, and it's probably going to cause some knee pain. You might end up with numb toes, all of that sort of thing. So if you are able to get it put on by, you know, get a bike fit and get them put on, or even go into a bike store, and they can help you, that's likely to be a little bit more successful. And just take note, if you are feeling like you're in a little bit of pain, or you're noticing, I guess, niggles that you didn't feel before when you were just riding in your runners, worth investigating. And sometimes just even the tiniest little bit of movement can make the world of difference and make you a lot more comfortable. So definitely something to think about. And then the last thing you need to purchase is pedals. So you can't use cleats and clip-in shoes with just your normal flat pedals. You need to actually buy clip-in pedals. Again, you can just get them online or at a bike store. They'll be able to advise you, you know, there's different price points and whatnot. But another thing you want to think about when you are purchasing pedals and using them for the first time is that your pedals have a tension adjustment. So it's just normally a little screw that you can tighten or loosen, and it will affect how you clip in and clip out of the pedals. So basically, the tighter the tension is, the harder it is to clip in and clip out. The looser it is, it's a lot easier to clip in and clip out. So if you're starting for the first time and if you've got a brand new pair of shoes, cleats and pedals, try and loosen the tension a little bit. If you're getting them put on if you're getting them put on at a bike store, just mention to them that you want to loosen the tension a little bit, just to make it easier whilst you get used to it. And once you become a clipping in and clipping out pro, you can tighten the tension up a little bit again. Okay, so to sum up before we move on, the 3 things you need to purchase to move from sneakers to cleats are your cycling or your triathlon shoes, your cleats, and your pedals. Once you have those 3 things, you're good to go. That's all you need. Nice and simple. All right, so the last thing we're going to touch on is clipping in and clipping out. So once you've got all of your equipment sorted, you are ready to go. And the next step is just to master the art of clipping in and clipping out. And this is the part that scares a lot of people, but honestly, it's so easy to do. What you need to do is learn how to slow down as you're coming, you know, to a stop, and to unclip one foot before you come to a complete stop. For example, if you're slowing down at traffic lights, you're coming up to a stop sign, whatever it may be. Unclipping is basically just the process of removing your shoe from the pedal. And it just involves a twisting motion, okay? That was a bad example. But basically you're twisting your ankle outwards so that your toes are going in towards your bike frame, and you'll hear a click, and your foot will be released from the pedal, okay? So that's the clipping out process. It is nice and easy. And you only have to worry about doing it with one foot. So a lot of beginners think that they need to practice unclipping both their feet as they come to a stop, and it can be really overwhelming trying to worry about both of them and then knowing what to do with your feet. But really all you need to worry about is unclipping one foot, bringing that onto the ground, and then as you push off, you clip that foot back in. So you don't need to unclip both, you just need to unclip one. And over time, after a few tries, you'll find that you have one dominant side. So for me, I'm right dominant. I unclip my right foot, have that on the ground, and then push off with my left, keeping my left clipped in the whole time. So yeah, only have to unclip one foot, only have to worry about one foot at one time. And the reason people can often be quite fearful of using cleats is that they're worried that they're going to fall and hurt themselves. And I will admit, falling is pretty much inevitable. It's pretty much definitely going to happen at some point. It's basically a rite of passage. If you ask anyone about their cleat experience, they'll probably be able to tell you about the time that they fell. It happens to all of us. Often it's just because you forget that you're clipped in. So it's, you know, not some big, I guess, accident or crash. You come to a stop, you're moving very, very slowly, you've forgotten that your feet are clipped into the pedals, and you haven't left yourself enough time to do anything. So what often happens is you're going very, very slowly, you realise you can't clip out, and then you end up just kind of tipping sideways. But it always happens in slow motion, and it's quite funny because you know you're going, but you can't do anything about it. So it's not too bad. Often the biggest, the thing that hurts the most is your ego, as opposed to actually hurting any part of your body. Happened to me at traffic lights. It was pretty funny. Had a bit of a scrape on my palm, but that was it. So yeah, you can also, start out practicing on the grass if it makes you feel more comfortable, knowing that there's a bit of a softer surface to fall on. But yeah, I promise it's not too bad. Once you fall once, you don't forget again. But yeah, we all have a pretty funny clipping in, clipping out story. When it comes to then clipping back in, you just want to make sure that you've flipped the pedal over so that the side that you're actually clipping into is facing up. And then you just have to stick the front of your foot, the first bit of the cleat in, and then put some weight on it, and you'll hear a click sound as you clip back in. Okay, you may find that when you're doing it at first, you feel like you have to look down and watch your foot going into the pedal, but over a little bit of time, you'll be able to do it automatically and be able to do it by feel. So yeah, let's just practice a little bit. Just start off riding around a car park, clipping in, clipping out. If you have a wind trainer at home, you can even practice just the clipping in and clipping out process on the trainer, where there's zero risk of falling, before you then step onto the road or the bike path. But hopefully now that we've covered all of that, you're feeling a little bit more confident about moving from sneakers to cleats. I really, really, really recommend making the transition. It is not as intimidating or as difficult as people can make you believe. Step one is just to make sure you've got those 3 pieces of equipment you need, and then you just need to practice clipping in and clipping out. But once you make the transition, you won't go back. It's so much better, and it will make your cycling experience a lot more enjoyable and a lot more comfortable too. So go for it. If anyone who listens to this is thinking about making the transition, make sure you post some updates. Let us know how you go. We'd love to hear it, and hopefully you can encourage some others to do so as well. Okay, that's pretty much it from me. As I mentioned earlier, if anyone listening is interested in joining in some of our Melbourne Squad training sessions from next week, join the TriChicks Melbourne Facebook group, or you can sign up for our 14 days for $14 trial. All of that should be in the links above. If you have any questions, feel free to message the TriChicks page on Facebook, and we'll get back to you. But that's it from me. Have a great week, everybody, and I will see you very soon. Bye.